I spent my only free night sitting in a hospital hallway, listening. Not to a podcast, not to music. To a girl trying not to cry. My week was a stack of double shifts. 7 days of beeps and belts and bus rides. That night was my one open window, and I gave it away to a hallway that smelled like lemon cleaner and noodles from the night canteen. Her name was Lynn. Mine doesn't matter. We were strangers, sharing the same hard bench and the same broken vending machine. She was waiting for a doctor to say something about her father. I was waiting for morning because I was too wired to sleep and too tired to make good decisions. I asked if she wanted cocoa. The vending machine ate my last coin. We laughed the tired kind of laugh, the one that ends in a sigh. So I did the only thing I could afford. I said, I can sit here if you want to talk. I'll listen. She talked. Not fast, not pretty. She talked like someone pulling wet clothes out of a washer, one heavy piece at a time.
Please.
How her father told stories but never the scary parts. How language gets small when people get sick. How the words "be strong" can feel like a door closing. I didn't fix anything. I couldn't. I only asked small questions, the kind that open a window. What would you tell him if he was awake? What hurts the most that doesn't have a name yet? Where do you put the fear when no one is looking? She thought. She tried a sentence, then changed it. We built a pile of almost words on that bench. She called the empty hours after visiting time hollow time. She called the quiet kindness of the night nurses soft guard. She called the way grief sits beside you without touching next to. We wrote them on a napkin from the canteen with a free pen that barely worked. Around 2 in the morning, a nurse brought 2 paper cups of real cocoa and told us to keep it down and also to keep going. At 3, the floor waxer hummed by like a slow ship. At 4, Lynn fell asleep with the napkin in her hand. At 5, the doctor came. The words were gentle and true in the way that hurts. Before I left for my shift, I said one more thing. If the words you need don't exist yet, make them. Let them be a bridge. Someone else will need to cross. I walked out into a sky the color of dishwater and caught the first bus. That was it. No numbers exchanged, no promises, just one free night and a napkin with new words on it. Years moved the way hospital clocks do. Slow when you stare, fast when you blink. I took care of things that break. Elevators, heat pumps, my back. I visited my mother on Sundays, and we spoke the language that families use when they don't want to worry one another. I learned how much can hide inside, I'm fine. And Lynn? She carried that napkin in a book she kept in her bag. She studied, worked 2 jobs, missed trains, caught the late ones. She wrote on buses, in laundromats, in stairwells. She tested her homemade words on real days. Hollow time for the lonely hours. Soft guard for the small mercies. Next to for the kind presence that doesn't force a hug. Sometimes her pages were only lists. Sometimes they were tiny scenes with names scratched out. Sometimes a sentence would ring like a glass touched by a spoon, and she would keep it. She failed often. Editors said her voice was strange. Friends said her words were not in the dictionary. She smiled, turned her shoulders back to the desk, and wrote anyway. The book took years. The first draft was a map of a city made of waiting rooms. The second was a chorus of people who don't know how to say help. The third finally had wind in it. She kept one promise on her wall. Make the words that are missing. When the novel came out, it did not explode. It seeped. It slipped into book clubs, group chats, night shift break rooms, the pockets of people who fold laundry at midnight. Readers began to borrow her words because they worked. A teen texted, "I'm in hollow time. Can you be next to?" A nurse wrote a sticky note. Soft guard in effect tonight. Parents used a new verb for telling hard truth gently. Afterlight. It crossed cities. It crossed languages. A dictionary added 2 of her words. A news anchor used one without explaining it. And nobody asked what it meant because they already knew. 20 years after that hallway, our city library hung a banner with the title of her book. The mayor, who usually speaks in numbers, read a passage and paused where the new word sat. People clapped the way you clap when you're grateful and a little surprised to find yourself crying. I was there, standing in the back near a pillar, the place I always stand. She was on stage with a glass of water and the napkin. Yes, the same napkin. Laminated now, a little crooked under the plastic. She thanked teachers, editors, nurses, the canteen staff whose pens barely work. She thanked the stranger who sat with me and asked for the words that weren't there yet. There was a small twist before the end. After the event, she stepped into the lobby and I stepped out of her way. We almost missed each other. Security waved her toward the signing table. I turned toward the street. "Excuse me," she said. "Do you know where the night vending machines used to be?" I did. We walked to the corner where a new coffee kiosk stands. The air still carried a hint of lemon cleaner, but the floor, new tile, no scuff marks. The bench was different.
Those words aren't
The
in
light was
dictionary.
warmer. She looked around like you look at a childhood home that someone has painted blue. "I'm looking for a person," she said. "I don't know his name. He listened to me here a long time ago." I wanted to say it was me, but the truth is simple. That night belonged to both of us, and now it belonged to many more. So I asked a small question, the kind that opens a window. "What would you tell him if he was here?" She smiled. "Thank you for lending me that night. Thank you for asking me to make the words. And if you're tired, I can be next to." We stood where the bench had been. The city hummed. People carried books that would change the way they comfort their friends, the way they ask for help, the way they say goodbye. I put a coin in the new machine and bought 2 cocos. They were too sweet and exactly right. She signed my copy at the edge of the counter. "For the one who made room for language to grow." She did not ask my name. I did not offer it. We didn't need a label for something that had already been named. On the way out, a teenager was showing a page to her mother. "See, right here," she said. "I'm not sad all the time. I'm in hollow time. It passes. Will you be next to?" The mother said, "Always.
This is for the best.
No stumbles, no search. A new bridge in their mouths, easy as breath. There is no sermon here, just an image I keep. A hallway, quiet and bright. 2 paper cups of cocoa on a bench that isn't there anymore. A napkin with new words. And a language that learned how to hold us. Because one night, when we had nothing else to give, we gave each other time.